Welcome to an exciting episode of the Lunch
Hello.
Love Change podcast. That's our jingle. Hello.
It needs a high pitch voice. I'm sorry.
I don't have a high pitched voice. What I do have is plenty of experiences with burnouts. That's our topic today.
Expert mode.
It's also an announcement for my niche, for my coaching. And it's basically an episode that we're going to show a little bit how we are ignorant, stubborn in the past, talk about these wonderful qualities that we see amongst ourselves and our friends when talking about allowing yourself to be vulnerable, talking about your boundaries, allowing yourself to be tired.
Having 25 volts in the air and still thinking that everything is just fine.
All these things.
Yeah.
If you like our episodes, make sure to share them with your friends, your family.
Please.
Drop a like or a comment, subscribe, check it out on YouTube, on Spotify.
Share, because we want to reach more people.
So, how to ignore burnout? We got a couple of questions for each other.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hit me off with your questions?
Yeah, sure. What are your top three signs to recognize a burnout in you and in others?
Yeah.
How do you deal when you feel your body doesn't perform?
Okay.
And what is your biggest learning out of the top three?
I find how do you feel when your body doesn't perform question a bit tough, also with a mix of my spinal cord injury and all the health issues that come along with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting question. This mind space, I think, is pretty recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the last question again?
What is your biggest learning?
Of life? Or
of those three burnouts.
Okay. Yeah, if I would have learned it, I might not have had so many.
Well, maybe, the magic number 3.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
Made you click and be like, aha.
No, true.
Yeah, how about you?
What I have is, what would people say, what could people say or do to make you acknowledge when you are in the process of building a burnout?
Good question.
How do you look back at the period that built up to the burnout? What are your takeaways? How do you look back at the burnout itself?
Mm-hmm.
Can you look back actually? Is it over? What do you think?
Good one.
What would be the hardest thing to do when you would see another burnout approaching for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a funny story about how you were ignoring the fact that you were building up a nice avalanche, a little waterfall of doo-doo.
All right. Good lineup.
So just to be honest and frank, to our backstories, Kay has had one long period of ignoring a burnout and then like complete derail, crash, burn,
flat face,
flatlining, everything flat.
Yeah.
And I myself, I think, started pretty young with ignoring burnouts. I think I was about 19 when I went home after falling asleep on driving the motorcycle, slept for 2 weeks. Then you're young, you bounce back. Little mix of a lot of intense winter depressions up until I think when I was 26, I had my real first couple month lasting one, and really painstaking recovery route. And then 2-3 years later, I had my next one that was more of a spiritual and also purpose burnout. Like whatever I was doing as an entrepreneur, couldn't see the point of it, so I completely lost all enthusiasm about. I don't know, how would you describe like what was the burnout for you? What is the burnout for you?
I feel like you really lose fire. It's really like I would be jumping out of bed in the morning and like kicking it. And at some point, my body, first of all, like my body really pulled the plug,
Yeah.
but then it would just really nothing, literally nothing would make sense. I was even like, yeah, taking a shower, like everything is just too much and nothing was worth doing it. Like going to the supermarket, picking an apple out of 4 different ones was already too much. And just taking a shower and brushing my teeth was too much. It
And what
was,
was the hardest part about it? Or what is the hardest part
I
about it?
think it's like really nothing made any sense anymore. I was just like, where was I like kicking it so hard for so many years and now just nothing makes sense? And it's like, is it gonna ever come back? That you're gonna feel a fire?
The not knowing whether this was permanent or temporary.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just like, maybe something short circuited in your system and it's just gonna stay like that,
From now on, you are like this. What
Dead.
apple? What apple do I choose?
No, but you just don't know. But that was for me like really literally just 0 line of not feeling alive anymore. I think that was for me the biggest sign of understanding this is how a burnout is.
For me, the biggest thing is the why.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we even alive? What is the point of this all?
Mm-hmm.
This big size,
Mm-hmm.
big size.
Which you don't have.
Yeah,
Usually.
standing in front of the fridge. Why should I even eat?
Yeah, why bother?
Yeah, why bother?
Yeah.
Why bother with anything?
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful times. So let's jump into the questions. If you, our lovely audience, which is live on Facebook, Instagram, have questions,
Yes.
comments, feel like we're talking nonsense or the truth has been spoken, share your opinion. You want to go first?
Hey,
You want
man.
me to drop you? Nah, I think you should answer with what can people do or say to make you acknowledge what's going on with yourself?
Hold on. The question was what could people? It was the past tense, no?
Maybe what should, like in my work, I see a lot of people who are like, they know something's off. They look a bit frightened, a bit like maintaining control, like gritting tooth and nail, like I can do this. I mean, some people last long in that. Like that's a lifestyle on its own. Mm-hmm. Like it's a gin tonic fueled cigarettes and coffee, and
there's not even a niche. This is really a lifestyle. It's pretty commercial.
Yeah. So and then you grab a detox and you do a little meditation,
3-day vacation,
and it's just postponing this beautiful journey of misery and hopelessness, and also I think just this, what you said, this panic almost of will it ever go back to normal?
Can I ever be normal again? Yeah.
So what can people, or could people, or should people, what is your omen to speak from your experience? You see other people right now when they are like my friend Mike, me and my brother Dill, we were like saying, hey man, we've been concerned about you maybe getting a burnout. We've never seen you this level of stress maybe. It's like, no, I know what's going on, and usually when it gets worse I start having panic attacks, so I know that's a signal, and I know in time to say it's enough. And we're like, yeah, in time is when you have the thing. It's like, yeah, it's not going to happen to me because I'll step away beforehand, but we all feel like Icarus, or
you're just going to miss that stop.
What can you say to somebody to really make them almost like diffuse with like if you have some type of illness, like you can diagnose it too late, and then it's like a whole bunch of measures that you could have prevented if you would have stepped in 6 months sooner, 3 months sooner, I don't know, whatever it is. But if you see the symptoms with somebody, what could people have told you?
I think in the past I wouldn't have listened to anyone. Super stubborn. I consider it a good quality to be stubborn in general, but seriously, if someone would have told me, hey lady, you just take it slowly, I'd be like, yeah, you should keep your advice to yourself.
Sleep is for the weak.
No, seriously, rest you can sleep when you're dead. That will be the past, which is good. I learned my lessons. And
how do you get through somebody like that? What needs to be?
I think I really didn't have someone who would be confident enough to like really sit my ass down and be like, listen, you are miserable, and these are the signs that I see, and like I care for you. I don't have any stakes in it. I just really care for you, and I'm worried. I think if someone would have really had the balls to sit me down and have that talk with me, I might be at least like, I mean, now I for sure would be, but in the past I might be like, okay, you know?
Something would enter.
Someone who would be
Something would
like,
land.
same level of craziness in work, etc. If someone in this same pace of life would have sat me down and be like, hey, I'm worried, then I'd be probably like, let me think about it.
Peer that you respect. It wouldn't
Yeah,
be
exactly.
the yoga teacher being like, hey,
Of course, like, hey, you should take some rest. Oh, you're like, yeah, of course, you should, yeah, you know. But
that's
if
sad news for all the
someone,
yoga teachers.
no, but if someone is like, come on, I didn't even knew how to spell yoga back in the days.
It's true, but now people do.
Yeah, but if someone is in the hamster wheel, same speed as you are, and sits you down and tells you that, I think that's why I would listen. That's why I said talking to Mike would probably be a good thing to tell him, like, hey man, I've been there, I've done that. I tell you, it's like a boiling frog syndrome. You're gonna realize.
I kind of feel like the
you're
first
in the
one
middle.
everybody needs to like have for themselves.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to be.
You can delay
I've
it.
seen people in my workshops who are like, I feel like something might be brewing up. That's why I'm here to prevent that, figure out how to manage my energy. But most people who are, I think what is possible though is when you are in the burnout mode, usually you're already here, and usually you are in the procedure of adding more stuff on top. It's like this little cartoon of this person who's holding
You
like
could handle it, yeah.
8 plates in 2 hands and one on their foot, and they're like a bunch of them are still in the air and they're about to land. And I think there is something to be said like, hey man, you have already enough, stop adding stuff. Because usually you're also in the process of adding stuff.
Yeah, that's why I asked for the next promotion.
Exactly.
It's like I can handle that. Give it on my
Give me
plate.
some
I show
more.
you.
Give me some more.
Yeah. So also this kind of like, you have a super huge portion of ignorance, eh? Really.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know. You think
just
it
like,
won't happen to you.
Of course. And you're
You are
like,
bulletproof.
I'm invincible.
I think also that's a big part of what you see in like media about big corporates and how the corporate culture is, the stance towards burnouts is like, it's for the weak. And this is the tempo. This is how the cogs turn in this machine. And if you wear out, you're not built for this. This is for the real rough
grow some balls and then come back.
Until it happens to you, and they're like, oh, all those other people also, because it's not just your job, of course, it's personal stuff. It's like a super complex situation that results into your how I would describe it is that your consciousness disagrees with what you're doing with your avatar. That's how I would
That's pretty good.
really describe a burnout, because there are so many ways to encounter a burnout. It can be a physical one, it can be a mental one, it can be a spiritual one, it can be an emotional one, a social one, financial one, and a digital one. And my leg is super spasming. Let me grab it. It really, like, you're still in the same body, your heart is beating, you cannot like it's not like you're breathing less. You can still walk, go outside, you just don't want to anymore. You don't care about this whole endeavor that is called life, and to explore, and to, hey, you want to go grab coffee? No. You want to go eat food? No. You want to see your friends? No. You want to breathe? No, actually, but I cannot stop that, so I'm just riding it out.
Yeah. But still, I mean, to say that thing, I think that's really important to mention. I consider it the best thing that happened in my life, eh?
Besides meeting me.
Besides meeting me. That's what you said. That's what he said. Seriously, I think, I mean, you can delay it and you can deny it and everything. I still believe that it's, my therapist, she would say it's like a spiritual awakening. And I really agree. It changed a lot in my life. So I think it's also a good thing. And yeah, maybe people should go, but I think seeing it with friends who are like head over heels heading into a burnout, I think it's good to say those things and be like,
Yeah.
listen, man, like you have two choices, eh? You can either like full speed just run into a wall, or you can just like start to listen to your body. If someone would have told me that and I would have started yoga and whatever meditation before,
Mm.
yeah, maybe I would have like flattened out the curve and wouldn't have met you
I
probably,
don't
but
know if just doing meditation or yoga or mindfulness, these are all, of course, wonderful techniques and
it's something.
platforms to manage and alleviate your stress levels. But I definitely think the attitude that we have towards life and what we expect to happen in a certain amount of time in our life
Hmm.
is really at the core of why two people can do the exact same thing, live the exact same life, and one of them has a burnout and the other one doesn't.
Yeah,
It's just because the other person isn't taking it that serious nor personally.
yeah,
So of course it's a spiritual path to be like, okay, this is
yeah,
just a life.
yeah.
It definitely has to do is, okay, maybe what I want in my life is not going to happen in 3 years, and I don't have to like twist myself in all these angles,
Mm.
or like marry a person I don't want to marry just because I want to be married, and then
And I want to have kids and I want
yeah,
to build a house and
rob myself emotionally for a couple of
mm,
years, and then be surprised that I'm having a like complete
breakdown.
burnout. It's an
Yeah,
emotional burnout,
yeah,
you're robbing yourself of
yeah.
something you don't know what.
Hmm.
Let's jump into another question. One of yours.
Why your top three signs to recognize a burnout in you and others?
I think early stages is how do you say it? Like tension in the body that almost amplifies in the mind. So your body is stressed, and your
Hmm.
that clogs your like cognition. You're having weird thoughts, like worries and stuff. I think
Hmm.
um, that actually the stress in the body comes from that you want to have some type of need, and you're
Hmm.
pushing for it, and it's not aligned. You're not in flow as much as you would be. You're forcing things, and then you do that for a extended period of time, and then you see that your need to numb yourself grows. Whatever your vice is, it doesn't matter whether it's uh, what is stigmatized, alcohol or drugs, or women for guys, or whatever, like
Games, video games, whatever.
video
Yeah,
games, internet
gambling.
usage, our lovely Netflix and binge instead of
Mm,
Netflix and chill. Just like turn off your brain with like whatever it is. Exercise have been a great.
mm,
I think that the most efficient one is exercise, to numb yourself with exercise, because
yeah.
you can save on sleep, and you feel fit, and you're like,
Yeah, you keep yourself energized again. So you're like, yeah, I can.
yeah, and it's a great deflator of stress. But still, on the long run, I think the most crucial question that I can ask to others is, uh, are you having as much fun in your life as you would like to? I think that question is
Hmm.
such a
It's a good one.
eye opener, also, to be like, what is life about? Okay, it's about achievements or feeling fulfillment or connecting or being creative, but
Mm,
all these things and the problems that you have to solve and deal with along the way, at some point can become discouraging if there's too little fun in the process.
mm,
And if I look back in all the moments that I was, and I still am recognizing it, if I ask myself the questions, what have you done for fun lately? And if that's a little cricket sound and nothing much happening, then I know I am on the wrong path.
mhm.
And it's not like
No.
if you're having enough fun, you won't have a burnout. Don't get me wrong. Okay, it
Hmm.
has to be some type of sustainable fun,
Hmm.
some type of self care, me time,
Yeah,
whatever it is, and
balance.
that's part of the curriculum in how to recover from a burnout,
Hmm.
the energy management compass. But
Yeah.
I think to realize that doing things that feed you are fun, feed you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially.
Yeah.
Um,
Agree.
so these are the top three
Signs.
signs. I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can list a lot more, but I think they're related, all of them.
Hmm. Yeah, I think in myself, I would always see it. I literally hated Sundays. I
Mm.
really hated Sundays because I knew
Mm.
it's the last day of the weekend to recover.
Mm.
And I already was prepping for the week. So I was usually working half a day or at least 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And then it was just like I wanted to do my workout. I wanted to work. The day was like literally just too short. And I went to bed Sunday night grumpy. So that was already like,
Mm.
okay,
That's
that's
an
that's not a
interesting
good
one.
place to be. Like you should enjoy your Sunday.
That's an interesting one because yours was really work related.
Hmm.
At the same time, I've had instances of the opposite of not looking forward to, like
Hmm. Task on Monday.
yeah, no, but not Monday related. It can be a situation related, a
Hmm.
person related, a task related.
Yeah.
Not opening my email box because it stresses me the hell
Mm.
out. Do not want to see what's in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You want to deal with it. Just
Hmm.
avoidance is a great
Yeah.
signal of that you're doing things against whatever you're
Hmm.
supposed to be doing, and that's
Yeah.
your consciousness being in conflict with your avatar.
That's a good way to phrase it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next questions I have for you. How do you look back at the period? What are your takeaways? Building up the burnout, going through the burnout, now riding the burnout. What do you look what would you like to answer on that question?
I
It's a big question.
literally cannot imagine how I managed to like keep all the boats in the air back then. Now I'm just like, wow, what a mad woman. Seriously, it
You're
was.
impressed by yourself.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by myself. How little
Mm.
sleep, how no nourishment,
Mm.
how like no work-life balance was
Mm.
there, and how long I survived to really stay up and keep it up and keep my core and just like perform, function and perform.
Outperform others.
Still, yeah, absolutely. And then I'm like, if I would have taken care of everything, where would I be? But that's a different question. Um, so how do I look back at the period? I'm really stunned by how much I managed to still
Mm.
like keep everything in places. And yeah, what were my takeaways? Not to take things for granted, and to really understand that this is not a given. Like the performance of your body is not a given.
Mm.
And if you just really beat it with a stick, you
It's
can
gonna work
really
even
get.
better.
It's gonna work much better. So if you would give it a bit more self-love and care and
Mm.
nourishment and sleep, gosh.
That's basically the cornerstone of the curriculum, the energy management compass,
Hmm.
is to see the productivity and life experience benefits of implementing self love regularly. It's like the carrot and the stick. No, how about just a sustainable way of using this beautiful machine to
Hmm.
its like uh, edges and still like not burning the thing up.
Yeah, and just like adding good fuel. I mean,
Definitely.
that's just an
I
amazing
like
engine.
I like what you said though, that you look back and you're stunned, because I also hear a lot of people
Yeah.
really look back at it with remorse or sadness or
Mhm.
upset or angry, and even taking that experience and basically it transforms into some type of fear for
Yeah.
rehappening it, and then like I cannot do the same job anymore, now I have to,
Hmm.
like that was the most difficult part for me. Like I had all my burnouts as an entrepreneur, and it wasn't always a work burnout, but it would always I couldn't imagine, because I had a burnout as an entrepreneur, to stop being an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Like now I have to take a job. Now I don't feel like taking a job, but it did. And we're like, well, nobody's watching me. I really need to watch myself. How do I even watch myself?
Hmm.
What do I need in place to know that I am not on the wrong or right path?
Yeah.
And I know it's limitless. Performance is like boundless, but it's like you're playing with a scale and a moving object in a curve, and you have to keep the balance. It's a complex
Yeah.
activity. But thanks for your takeaways and your the way you look back at it. I think also, for me, there's some hidden glory in like firing on all cylinders,
Yeah.
fire coming out of the exhaust, like
Quite some big dick energy, but yeah.
BDE
Yeah.
for sure, BDE.
I think, I mean, for me, it was also like I never went back to my job. And that's also for sure a difference if you just like break with everything and just decide that you want
You
to go your
completely
own way.
redesigned your life,
Exactly.
which a
But
lot of people do. How many people from corporate suddenly switch to becoming a yoga teacher, or like
mhm.
I now work with pets, whatever. I cannot
Yeah.
deal with office or screens anymore.
Yeah, but they're also like a friend of mine told me about that once, and she was like, "There's a program in 100 days out of a burnout." I almost started cracking up because I was like, it really sounds like of those how to, huh? It's just like so corporate made to be like,
There's
you
a
have
lot
100
of
days, this is
despair,
your
like
goal. I
despair to
get
like
it
get
that
out of
it's
it.
nice to get out of it, but it's just not how it works. If you like really lean into it, then it breaks you, but it's good.
I think the reason why such programs also need to exist is that not everybody has the buffer to float longer than those 100 days.
For sure. But still.
For a lot of people, it's like a common reality that you, uh, whatever contract or arrangement you have,
Yeah.
you experience a burnout, whatever reason it might be, and then the doctor, the HR, they're like, "Hey, it happens. We have statistics nowadays. It happens." And
How can we get you back?
no, we're gonna get you back in 3 months,
Yeah.
and you're like full freak out mode because you
Yeah.
look at that
Okay.
place as the birthplace of your misery right now, and then you're like, "Hey, we gotta get you back within 3 months. You ready?"
100 days, 3 digit.
It's
Okay,
not
now
gonna
it's two
be.
digit.
It's not gonna be less emails. It's not gonna be less phone calls. Not gonna be less meetings. Something in you has to change, and you're like, "That's where I come in." That's what you said, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
With the right
I
address.
agree.
Um,
Yeah. Me, how do you deal? You want to deal with that question? Yeah.
no,
How do you deal when you feel your body doesn't perform? How do you
poorly.
deal with the
I deal with
situation?
it poorly. I keep dealing with
Honesty.
it poorly.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty in this man.
Yeah, last 3
So
weeks
much
my body
honesty.
was not performing as
I
I would
know.
like it, and I dealt with it poorly. It
That's why I put the question on the
pissed
list.
me off
As
super.
AF.
Yeah, pissed me off super.
Yeah.
Wait 1 second. My
Oi.
app block is the app that is preventing me from spending hours on Instagram. Just shut Instagram down.
Oopsie.
Let's see if I can resume my live
Resume
view.
it. Yeah.
Is this still on?
I think so, yes.
Blessings.
Wow. That was easy.
Blessings. Sorry for that. So I dealt with it poorly. In the past, I dealt with it poorly. That's my answer. That's how I deal with it when my body does not perform. Nah, but all jokes aside, really poorly. It's like I cannot
I mean it.
like a lot of people I see are able to feel upset and sorry for themselves when they are sick, and they get past the point that okay, I was trying to achieve something, or canceling a meeting. Like I had a meeting with a guy, I have to cancel it, and I have to beat myself with a stick for 3 days because that's how you learn. No, but the ability to have self empathy and compassion and be like, hey, you're going through a tough time, you're physically ill. Just take it easy. That's not one of my strongest skills. So when I have a burnout, when I had a burnout, also it almost instantly becomes a nice infusion, herbal depression to make it extra nice to be in a burnout, to be also depressed about the fact that I did not amount to any and super negative self-image, super judging, super everything that's poison basically. No. So I am now proud of myself that I am able to, within the self same weeks, days, vocalize this, breathe it out, have my friends tell me that I deserve better than that from myself.
Yeah.
So I am on this path of sharing how I deal with it. And I think everybody deals with it differently, but all I have seen around life so far, because I also have the uh, spinal cord injury, the handicap, this whole different reframing your mind of what your expectations and reality with your body is, which most people have to experience throughout age. I got it like a little shortcut. But if I see somebody has a knee injury, back injury, wrist injury, we resist, we deny, we do not want to be mortal. That's basically the cornerstone of it.
Hmm.
And we want to be young gods forever and goddesses. So
Yeah.
I understand the desire. I see it with everybody. Asking for help is difficult. Being the person who is vulnerable is scary. Feeling okay about whatever time your recovery needs. Making recovery a task on its own. Like, how many people do I know that had a burnout? Okay, I was looking at the ceiling for a month or two, and now I'm back. Let's do it again. And like, well, what was the recovery? Where was the learning arc? Like, at least I have those
Yeah.
skill set. Like,
Yeah.
I have crashed my forehead into the wall, and it has like cracks because my head was hard. My head was also a bit like looks like this now. I don't know what it was like before, but I learned each of these blows, and I learned a lot of it. So I definitely infused that in the curriculum that I teach with people,
Mm.
how to recover from a burnout and how to come back literally stronger. And
Mm.
that's a difficult one. Like for me, every time getting back into the ring as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
knowing that the only person who can really decide whether I sink or float, like in a sustainable way, is me, and I know how much I had to program myself to be more sustainable.
Mm.
And I think these are the ways how I deal with my body not performing. It's a whole process, and it's never like, okay, then and then I have time for a burnout. No, it's always inconvenient. It's always you get sick at the wrongest moment. You probably infuse it with losing a family member and some depressive shit to make it extra
Juicy. Mm.
testing the character. But
Yeah.
whatever your reaction is, I think it's important to also realize what you would like your response to be. So I
Mm.
understand my own
It's a good
reaction,
one.
and I'm leaning more into what I would like my response to be,
Hmm.
which makes it way easier to like. We don't know. Maybe if somebody would finally download the instruction manual of how to be human, then you would read like when you have a burnout, then do A, B, and C, and within 2 weeks you're better than before. Okay, we don't know.
No.
We just be like, this person is not functioning anymore. Well, let him stay home and don't let him see his friends, because then we will say he went to the beach while he was supposed to be sick at home.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you know how much people do I know when they are overworked on like a couple of test sick leaves, but not really willing to admit a burnout, and then they're like, hey, you want to do something fun? No, no. What if people see me? Yeah, I'm supposed to be sick at home, and then just sit in the corner and not speak to anybody. Just isolate yourself even further. Take away the little social contact you have.
Yeah, or like really recharge socially, which is great to spend some time with up people. But then you're like,
Yeah.
no, no, I gotta hide in the darkness of my own home.
Yeah. So besides my own response and reaction, I think our social groups also have a responsibility, and it's a tough thing to say,
Yeah.
but it's part of my work to be there when people are going through this phase and to emphasize how important it is to have like brothers and sisters that go through the same, that you can at least connect, because being misunderstood if all your
Yeah.
peers are like, yeah, this is one of the weak ones. Okay, now we don't speak anymore because you didn't make it up the corporate climb.
Yeah.
and to be kind to each other. It's easier to be kind to somebody else who is having the same thing that you are having, and you're not going to be kind to yourself. So you do that for each other, and then it balances out. I think that's
Yeah,
definitely also part.
I agree.
Yeah.
Good one.
Um, what would be the hardest thing to do if you would be approaching a burnout right now?
I think now building my online shop and really caring for what I do and really putting a lot of energy, time, and love in it. If I would at some point feel that my energy is dropping, I'll be like, why? Because I really don't want to slow down. I really care for what I do. I
Mm,
really have so much fire and so much vision to make that really something impactful.
mm,
And if I would feel that my body is not coping with the
mm.
situation, I'd be like, which turn did I took wrong?
Accepting it would be the hardest thing.
It would be really hard, yeah.
And what about that? It's about slowing down.
Because that's something that I really care for. Like doing what I'm doing now is something that I really like
Mm,
holistically care for. There is not a portion that I need to work with people that I don't like, that I need to deal with decisions that I don't like, that I need to execute on something that I don't like.
mm,
It's basically I am my own boss. I can decide what I want to do, how it should look like, etc. And if I would realize that my energy is dropping, I'll be like, hey, you don't need to bend into shape for someone else. You
I
basically
don't.
decide your own vision, mission, and where you want to go. And like, why is my body not able to cope?
Hmm. Can I give you a little metaphor
Please.
to maybe for myself also it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that your answer is also very growth and continuation related.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, what part of that is the ego? Because if you look at nature, part of growth is also to shrink. If you look at how a tree or a plant goes through cycles in a year, and eventually it grows, but at a part of the year it has to lose all it has and let it all go and like go back to the roots and turn inwards and slow down and then maybe even hibernate. And for us that feels like all is lost now. It's easier said than done, and the metaphor is, I think,
Yeah.
very understandable.
Yeah.
But also in our systems, in our the way we design the world, shrinking isn't part of the equation. Economy has to grow, the GDP has to grow, you have to grow, your career has to grow, but maybe like centralizing and decentralizing have benefits, and we do that to system growing and shrinking the size of governments. We try it, but to really like for us personally to be like, okay, and now it's part of my down cycle where I cut all the fluff and go back to the core and then reboot again. That's what I really had
Yeah.
learned as an entrepreneur, that every time it is definitely a cycle that you go through. And then unfortunately, sometimes you steer too hard and you crash. And then it's a longer recovery cycle.
That's a good one.
I hope
Thank
to
you.
be as part of my announcements today is to add a lot of free value and also free keynote speeches this year for people who are in industries that are getting ripped apart. Because like we talk about burnout as something that happens to you because your body, whatever. But imagine people's life is shifting now. The industry that you are working in, my friend, they're cutting 75% of staff. How many businesses in
Super.
the tourism? You don't have to be very educated. You understand people are not spending money
Yeah.
because they're not traveling.
Yeah. How?
Businesses are going to get hurt. These are people's jobs. So you don't have to per se have a burnout in that sense.
Yeah.
You can be fired, you can be displaced, your job, and you suddenly are facing a whole, oh, nothing is the same situation. How do you deal with these phases? So I'm going to be providing a lot of value from my own experiences in this field because I feel like it's so imminent, like just psychologically not seeing a better future. I think that's also part of like the a burnout's almost like a semi suicide. Like you're Your consciousness does not agree with how you are proceeding with life, so it pulls the plug on you and you stay conscious. While suicide actually is you trying to protect yourself from more hurt in the future,
Mhm.
and you really end life. And the burnout's ending your ego path pursuit
Mhm.
and just leaves you to
Mhm.
boil in your own juices for a little while.
Mhm.
But to almost realize that this is nature's way of making you reboot, reprogram,
Mhm.
and really taking that opportunity to also update, because everything around us is changing so fast. Imagine in this climate, you're getting hit with a burnout, your relationship breaks up, or you lose your job, you get displaced, your education is not worth anything anymore. Something might snap inside of you. Right? So
Absolutely.
I'm going to be here providing honesty about how I went through all these things, how we're going through these things together,
Mm.
and what I have learned that I'm just sharing with you so you can implement in your own life
Mm.
about using this opportunity and realizing that it's like our breath is unstoppable. You live until you take your last breath. And in the meantime, your heart beats and you keep breathing. And that means every time there's another opportunity, it's hard to look at them and it's painful and it's going to see many different iterations of your ego. Enough of me ranting about this stuff. I'm excited about it. Excited about burnouts, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's something good. Seriously.
Um,
You know what I said?
you got one left?
Yeah.
The biggest learning
Your biggest learning.
in life. No, I
No.
think that's the energy management compass. I think uh, I hope to create with my audience, with the people who support what I'm doing, and share it with other people, because I hear left and right people I knew from high school, from university. It's hitting all ages, all levels of education, all income classes.
Cannot hide.
Um,
Really.
we know so little about it, so I hope to expand upon it and at some point be able to really differentiate in the energy management compass which dimension is really depleted in your case.
Mm.
So, what is the core of your burnout?
Mhm.
And create a way to come out of it. Because I can bet you, if somebody's been cheating on you, then maybe your problem of your burnout is not your job. It's just that you have a heartbreak
Mm.
and you get diagnosed with a burnout, which definitely might be the case, that you do not
Mm.
agree with life anymore until the point that gravity is too much to get out of bed for.
Mhm.
But dealing with loss, dealing with grief, dealing with being misaligned with what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, feeling bullied, feeling unsafe at work, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
the way out of it can be quicker if you know where the pain is, where the hurt is, where the depletion is.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I had to learn the hard way. Because every time I would be like, okay, my life is in shambles, nothing is worth living for. Well, if I would be able to
Shift that energy
no, like
already.
just polish my glasses and be like, okay, um, my business failed, but my friends are okay, my health is
Mm.
okay, my family is there for me. I still have some cash flow, and
Mm.
I think my reputation is gone, but actually it's okay. Uh,
I don't care.
no, no, you do care at some
Yeah.
point.
No,
Like,
but to pinpoint which part it is helps so much because it's
I
not
think
life is
that's
not
my
over.
biggest learning from having multiple ones,
Yeah.
to have been fortunate enough to taste different ones.
Hmm. Gosh.
So some people are like,
Amen.
some people are just like, oh, I had a burnout. I hope I never have one again. I'm like,
Hmm.
what type of burnout did you have? I'm like, yeah, there are multiple types, and you can have them multiple times. It's like you can get a little card that you collect stamps.
I remember your workshop that I joined, and then you said you had three, and then the one girl was like super shocked.
Yeah, like there are
Like,
more than
whoa,
one.
you can have more than one. No, 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 no. I don't want to be in that camp.
No, unsubscribe.
I was just like, yeah, well,
Unsubscribe.
you just got a one-way ticket. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
Tell us a funny story about how you were ignoring your burnout.
I think the whole story is just super funny. I mean, I would sleep less and less month by month. I would go from 7 hours to 6 hours to 5 hours. I would increase my training amount month by month. I would run more month by month. I would eat less. Like this whole equation of what to put in, what to get out was completely twisted.
Super robbery style.
Super robbery style. And
Rob
I
and
was
rape,
like,
rob and rape yourself daily.
I'm on top of things. Wonder Woman,
I
here
like
I am.
your holidays when you were in that period. You would just sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. But then I would blame it on the weather, eh? I would go to Asia, super hot, super humid climate. And I would basically I
cannot deal with this weather. I have to
and then it was like, yeah, well, my blood pressure is so low and it's so hot and humid here. That's why my body can cope with it. That would be my explanation. And I would drink 8 coffees during the day to at least stay up somehow.
I
Pass
think this
out
is your
everywhere.
best
Would
story.
be in horizontal. Would be just yeah, I can't deal with life. Yeah, well, and also
Slightly.
seeing pictures of myself, I'm happy, not a happy smiling, but I actually really see what is behind this happy fake smile. It's just man,
Tension,
girl, you've
so
been
much
looking
tension.
miserable,
Tension.
miserable, really. I'm fine. Or as I would say, this is how I look when I'm happy. Super fake.
See this face. This is a happy face.
So yeah,
Okay.
really.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Plenty goofy episode today of the Love Change podcast. How to ignore that burnout.
Yep.
Please share us if you are
Yes,
having a similar experience or you think you need another burnout.
You can sign up.
Yeah, we can arrange these things for you.
Absolutely. Sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah,
The next one is coming soon.
Share and subscribe. Share your thoughts.
Yeah.
And hope you're healthy. Love you if you're checking us out. Without you, we will be just two silly people talking to a lens.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love all the feedback and all the love and positivity that comes back our way. Makes us really happy to see that it reaches people. We bubble.
Definitely.
We bubble and it reaches people. So
see you next week.
Love change out.
Hi, yeah.